Everyone, welcome in today's video. I'm Jennifer from Gen W Arts. Today I'm going to review a couple of items that Arteza sent me to review, and yeah, they're pretty cool items, so I was really psyched to go and play with them. So yeah, let's get on with it then. Hello! Here are the two items that Arteza sent to me. A case with 60 Everblend markers and a tin of 102 premium Fineliner pens. Again, I'm very impressed with how beautiful the packaging looks. This alone made me very excited to play with the materials. First, we are going to have a look at the Everblend markers. They come in a nice and handy case, which is ideal when you want to take the markers with you on a trip. On the back there are color swatching cards that tell you which colors are in the set of 60, and a nice zipper in which you can store a small drawing pad or a few pencils or pens. When opening the case, you find you can open the sides as well, so you can lay all your colors out and easily can browse through them. I really like how they put thought in this, as often you buy your alcohol markers in these inconvenient plastic boxes. In a case like this, they are conveniently and neatly stored, and you have a nice overview over your colors. This set of 60 contains a nice range of colors, at least of all the primaries. It does lack in the earth tones and pastel tones, but there is a colorless blender present. Apart from this set, Arteza also has a set of 120 markers to offer, and they sell each color loose in a pack of 4. Not sure why they don't sell singular colors, as in my opinion, it's not very convenient when a couple of colors run out and you then have to buy 4 of each color to replace them. Also, they sell replaceable nibs for these markers. The marker itself looks very nice in design. It doesn't feel or look cheap and has a triangular shape, so it won't roll all over your desk. On both caps you can see the color name and the numbers, so it's easier to pick the color you need. The Everblend marker has a fine nib on one end and a chisel nib on the other end. And when you're done, the case is just as easy to close up as it was to take apart. At the back there is space to store an additional 12 markers, so this case can store up to 72 markers in all. I swatched each color out to see if there were any dried out markers and if the colors didn't deviate too much from the caps. As you can see, there's a nice range of colors and the alcohol based ink is nice and vibrant. If you view them at black light, there are actually 3 fluorescent colors among them. So far I'm quite impressed with this set of markers, which retail for about $70, which equals about 63 euros for 60 markers in a fancy handy case, which is a bargain, I think. Now let's have a look at the premium Fineliner pens. Just look at the beautiful box art. Again, I'm very impressed with the quality of the packaging for this low-cost product. No cheap plastic for these Fineliners, but a fancy metal tin instead. Today I will be reviewing the 102 set, but they also come in sets of 48 and 72. The set of 72 I have already reviewed before, along with the Arteza Expert colored pencils. If you want to see that review, then click the link below in the description box. When you open the tin, you find 3 layers of gorgeous colors inside. The colors look a bit mixed up in my tin because mine somehow got a bit scrambled up inside upon arrival, and I haven't sorted them out yet. Pens have a nice silver triangular barrel and the cap and pen's end depict the color of the ink. All the pens have an 0.4 size nib. Even though the cap shows the color, it's always a good thing to swatch out your color, as often the colors on the cap does deviate from the actual ink color. So I swatched out all 102 colors and found that luckily none of the colors were dried out. There are a couple of colors that look very similar, but that's not a big issue for such a low cost product. The tin of 102 pens retails for about $39, which equals about 35 euros. There are also a couple of fluorescent colors in the set. Before I started the project, I wanted to test if the Fineliners were marker and waterproof. They kinda seemed marker proof, but they were definitely not waterproof. Regardless, I decided to color with the markers first and add the line art with the pens afterwards, just to be safe. Before I start the demonstration, I have to mention that this video was in collaboration with Arteza, who were so kind to send me these products to review. Of course, I will still give my honest thoughts about the products. From today till December the 26th, you can get a 10% discount on your order on their website if you use the discount code that will be popping on the screen for any of their products. Also, if you're in a pinch and you don't really know what to do with your artsy stuff, then they also have their very own YouTube channel in which you can find some inspiring videos for any of your artsy projects. Now let us move on to the demonstration. First, I start out by sketching my design onto the paper. This time I did not use a graphite pencil for the sketch, as I worried it might smudge out when I color over it with an Everblend marker, since I'm going to do the line art at the end instead of immediately after sketching. So I used a colored pencil very lightly instead to draw my sketch. For today's drawing, I chose to go with a Nordic themed illustration, trying to draw some knotwork and one of the mythical ravens, Munin, one of the messengers of Odin. I don't know, but for the longest time I got a deep interest in the old Nordic and Scandinavian mythology. There's just something so fascinating about it. I just don't really know. Once I finished the sketch, I start coloring with the alcohol markers right over the sketched lines, which was quite a challenge as I am used to ink the line art first and to erase the pencil lines after, but now I couldn't erase them as I needed them to guide my coloring. So it kind of felt like reverse working for me. Also, that's why I sketched in a blue color and very lightly. As I'm going to use a lot of cool tones, I don't want the pencil lines to show through too much at the end. I used a dark blue color to fill in the spaces between the knotworks, and then lighten them up by using a very light blue color. I believe it was called Arctic blue. This way I could test if I could bleach out the darker color by going over it with a lighter color. Then for the knotwork lines I started off with dark splotches near lines that would cross, to create shadows under some overlapping lines. Then I softened them up with a light warm grayish color, so you get a nice color transition and lose the hard edges of the dark shadowy color. Moving on to the raven, I first colored its eye, as it was so tiny and yet such an important detail that I was afraid to lose it if I left it for last, even though the pens did not bleed or feather too much on this paper. After that I laid down all the dark areas of the bird first. I tried to use the chisel nib here as it fills in bigger areas faster, but for the largest part of this piece I used the fine nib as I prefer working with that better. But I do hope Arteza will one day come out with a brush marker version. Then I fill in the light areas with a light grey, the light blue and some pink for some color variation. Then I add a feathery texture on the dark areas by pushing away the dark color with a very light blue. This way it looks less flat and more lively. So far I really like how these markers perform for a budget-friendly marker. They blend well, have great intense colors and lay nice in the hand. The only downside I can think of is that you can't put the cap on the end of your marker while you're drawing, because of its shape. So you have to be really careful not to lose sight of your caps while you're drawing. Also, I'm not sure if they are refillable. My gut says they are, since you can take out and replace the nibs, but they do not sell refill inks yet. When the coloring is done, it's time to bring the piece together with some line art using the Fineliner pens. I'll be using a violet blue and a purple color to do the line art and final details with. The pens feel really smooth and glide with ease over the paper. They dry quite fast and do not feather, so you keep clean and crisp lines at all times. I can imagine these are perfect for writing as well. It's just a pity that there are no color codes or names on the barrels, so you kinda have to guess what color it is you're using, especially since the colors on the cap isn't always accurate to the actual color of the ink. But other than that, I really enjoy drawing with these pens because of their smoothness and nice flow of the ink. At first I dreaded they might be dry and feel scratchy like some other Fineliner pens I used in the past, but luckily these are the opposite of that, so I can really recommend them if you write a lot or like to draw with pens. Whoops, there's a little interruption. I mean, you can't be a cat if you do not cause some mischief at unwanted moments, right? Here I am putting the final details to the line work, and so we are nearing the end of this video. Again, I would like to thank Arteza for letting me play with their products, and I hope this video was enjoyable for you. If you did, leave me a like and don't forget to subscribe if you want to keep up to date with any of my future videos. Thank you all for watching and have a good one!